Welcome to Uccello's for today's media luncheon. Our players, Deonte Hurst and Jamie Potts, along with head coach Matt Mitchell. Coach, if you can talk about the Ferris State game, and then we'll move on to the Family Day contest against Lake Erie College.
Sure. Obviously, credit to Ferris State for winning the ball game. In the first half, a little bit of back and forth action for most of the first quarter and into the second quarter. I think there was a string of plays there that probably turned the tide a little bit for us to determine the game. We are coming out, we get a fumble, give them great field position, and then we get to a third down, get them a third down situation. We have a 3rd and 10, and they drop back to pass. It's pretty much bottled up and covered, and Jason Vanderline just makes we missed probably 3-4 tackles on it, but he made a great run, got him down the sideline, and we get a personal foul at the end on a face mask, gives a great field position. They scored the touchdown. That was just a huge turn of events. The short field and then us giving up the touchdown really hurt our team at that point in time. And then we get another red zone opportunity. We got to settle for a field goal. When you're facing an explosive team like that, you got to try to score touchdowns. And then at the end of the first half, we hold them to a 4th and 1. We call a timeout, try to get the ball back, and a very aggressive call by them on their own 25. They quarterback sneak it, and then we give up a big pass play. So instead of, could have been potentially a one-score game either way. At halftime, we find ourselves down 21-10, and then coming out in the third quarter, a very poor start. We go 3 and out on offense, give up a really big pass play, get in behind us in the secondary. And then we throw an interception, they score. And then, after that point, you're chasing the scoreboard. We tried multiple times to go for it on 4th down. Our red zone didn't really produce anything. So, from a defensive standpoint, our Achilles heel right now, it's the same thing that hurt us against Ohio Dominican. It's too many big plays in the passing game. I thought for the most part of that game until Vanderline got going a little bit running into the fourth quarter, late third and the fourth, we did a decent job stopping the run both inside and both on the edges. But we give a big pass plays with our, some younger secondary guys. We're just let the ball get back in behind us and giving up pass plays. And to Ferris's credit, they did a good job of, attacking what is the weakness of our defense right now is the middle part of our coverage. And so we have a lot of improvement to do from that standpoint. Offensively, we're struggling right now offensively. We can't consistently run the ball. We're not very physical at the line of scrimmage. And we're not very explosive on the outside. We're not creating any big play opportunities on the outside. We basically had a post to Camille Jackson. That was a big chunk play. And other than that, we're not really generating very many explosive plays and not getting much going in terms of the running game. And obviously, on Saturday, we were very inefficient in the red zone. We got one touchdown on the one possession inside there, but we had to settle for a field goal, and then went forward on multiple times. Had 4 opportunities to get a first down inside the 20 and 4 opportunities to try to score inside the 10. We didn't score. So we've got issues on the offensive side of the ball from just about everything. Our inability to run the ball, to be explosive on the outside. We've got to worked hard to develop an identity offensively to try to create some excitement. We don't have much excitement in our offense right now because they're not really making any plays. Coaches got to try to put some players in position to make some plays, and we have playmakers in our offense. I mean, I think that was proven based on some of the returning talent, but those playmakers right now are not either being put in a position to make plays is good enough by our staff, or we're not getting it done, and we've got to get more explosive on the outside. So, heading into Lake Erie, obviously excited to get back home. I believe the game's already sold out, and it should be a great crowd to get back here. We've got a big challenge on the defensive side of the ball. They score, a lot of points. Very explosive offense, averaging almost 550 yards offense through 3 games. And if you look at them statistically last year, that's not an anomaly. They're a very explosive offense all last year. Anthony Bilal is, one of the top tailbacks in Division II. He's already scored 12 rushing touchdowns. I think he's second in the nation in rushing. He's averaging 10 yards per carry. And if you look at his statistics from his sophomore year, he was extremely dynamic and explosive last year. He's a very, very talented player, extremely talented player. When he gets in the back end of defense, nobody's been able to tackle him. And this is not just, based on 3 games this year. He did it all of last year too. So they're putting up a lot of points, a lot of yards, and it's going to be, tough test for our defense. That on the flip side, certainly last year, and it appears to be through the first 3 games this year, their defense has not been the strong suit of their team. So we got to focus on us offensively. And as I said before, we got to get some confidence. We have to get some excitement. We've got to get some big chunk plays. We got to create some energy on the offensive side of the ball. I'm hoping that we can get a Heath Parling back and healthy to get some competitiveness and some leadership, on that side of the ball. And we've got to get back to playing, Grand Valley football on the offensive side of the ball. And we're going to need them this week. This is going to be a challenge for our defense based on the skill set they have and schematically who they have. It's going to be a big challenge to, stop this attack. So this is about Grand Valley and Grand Valley football and getting back out on our home field and start playing like the way that we should be playing based on the people that we have in our building.
Matt, I'm kind of curious how you present yourself to the team given the situation that you find yourself in.
Like personally or the program?
I think just for their sake too, for the whole team. What is it that you want to try and portray this week as far as sense of urgency, what you need to do? Do you need to get better? Do you hammer on them? Do you play it light?
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Well, I would say we have, the 2 sides of the ball are different. There's obviously a team aspect in this sport, but same thing when you're nature of football, when you're platooned, you have a little bit different approach. Defensively, we have guys that are competitive. They're fighting, they're scratching, they're clawing, they're physical. We have got to clean up some things with our secondary from, not giving up big plays. And, I think that's got to be the focus is from a technique standpoint, from a sense of urgency of understanding, you got to get in the deep half and got to get in the deep middle third. Offensively, our coaches, I think, have to go out this week, and our leaders on this team, both our coaching staff offensively and some of these upperclassmen there, we've got to have a tone that we've got to become a more physical football team. We've got to play with a chip on our shoulder. We've got to be way more competitive. We have to have way more bite. We just have to have way more get after it than we have had. And like I said, one of our guys that is the most competitive people and has that sense of urgency was on the sideline last week in street clothes. And, I made the argument to our team he was more competitive than some guys that are out in the field in the way that he was leading on the sideline. So we've got to get back to that. We've got to get that. We've got to get that fight, and we've got to get that bite. And I expect our offensive coaches to be a week where we're gonna coach our kids extremely hard, and those guys have got to go out and have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder that they're going to get back to playing the way that they should be playing based on the talent that we have on that side of the ball. So I think it's a little bit different, on both sides of the ball, how we approach this week and how we approach the practice and how we get things done.
Jamie, can you talk about that too? I mean, where do you think the players are as far as morale and where you find yourselves?
Yeah, I mean, the offense, we're obviously frustrated. We're having a really hard time scoring points, especially in the red zone. We know we have good players. We have guys that did it last year and have done it, their whole careers here. But there comes a point when we just got to figure out a way to score. And, we haven't done that so far this year. But I know these guys are going to work hard. We're going to fight for every inch we can this week and for the rest of the season. We know we've squandered some opportunities this year, but, we're not going to let any more opportunities go by. And, that's how we got to approach each week now.
And Deonte, I mean, as a senior, what do you say to your teammates to kind of keep them motivated? After the 0-3 start, how do you get them amped up for this game?
Well, you just got to keep pushing. You never know. The GLIAC is a tough league. Teams that we already played, they can end up losing. I mean, anything can happen. You just got to have the mindset of, we can still do this thing at the end. Just keep everybody motivated and humble. Just keep coming back, working hard, because you never know what can happen.
What's the status on Heath, and how do you think that's going to play out this week?
Well, our players have Monday off. Yesterday, he was able to do some things. I think we're probably waiting until tomorrow morning to see if he can practice on Tuesday. I'm optimistic that he'll be able to practice on Tuesday. I'd be very surprised if he wasn't able to practice Wednesday, Thursday, and play in the game. But it's hard for me to predict how he's going to be feeling, 24, 48 hours from now. But we're working down that road of getting the soreness out and getting the mobility back, and we're, I would say, cautiously optimistic that he's going to be able to practice at least 2 of the 3 days this week. And I would, again, it's going to kind of depend how much he practices and how he feels. We don't. It's very hard to play quarterback if you don't take any reps Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and so he's got to be able to at least have 1 or 2 days of a fully functional practice before we can really feel good about him playing the game on Saturday.
Coach, you talked about offense having to change and be more physical. Do you change anything schematically? Maybe throw it more, do something different there, or do you change personnel?
I would if we were making plays on the outside, but we're making no plays on the outside, so it's tough to say, well, we're not being physical and can't run the ball, so let's start whipping the thing around the yard when you go 10 of 34 on Saturday, and I believe we're like 5.9 yards per completion. So we're completing less than 50% of our passes, and when we do, we're not getting any yards on the completion. So, it's hard. Like I said, it's difficult to sit there and call an offensive play when you're struggling to run the ball up inside. You're not very explosive on the outside, and that's the truth and the fact of the matter is that's where our offense is at right now.
Yeah, Coach. And then just another schematic question defensively. In a couple of games so far, a couple of running backs in Vanderlaan last game have a lot of rushing yards. How do you stop Lake Erie's running back in this game? How do you contain him?
Well, it's a challenge. There's no doubt it's a challenge. I mean, I think what we've seen, I wouldn't anticipate anything different on Saturday night, is that you're getting some top-tier talent, whether it's Terrell Watson from Azusa Pacific, Brandon Schoen from Ohio Dominican, or obviously Jason Vanderlaan from Ferris State, that are getting 30 plus carries, and they're really feeding those guys. And so when I look at our rushing defense up to this point, we gave up one big rushing play against Ohio Dominican where I misfit. Other than that, we're not giving up a lot of big chunk runs, all right, at this point. What is more problematic for our defense right now is that we are really, really good in spurts, and then we'll give up some big plays. And most of those plays that we're giving up at this point in time, sans, Azusa Pacific, but definitely Ohio Dominican against Ferris State, are pass plays and zone coverage, where we have guys that are redshirt freshmen or younger in our program that are been put in some situations where they've got to do a better job of getting depth and being where they're supposed to be for this team, and being 1/11th of the defense and not trying to make a bunch of plays, but being in their spots and doing what they're doing. We're learning some very hard lessons against some great competition. Both Ohio Dominican and Ferris State are very dynamic offenses. We're learning some hard lessons in the back end of our defense right now. And those lessons, we don't have any more time to learn lessons. We've got to get those guys to get in the right spots. That will be no different on Saturday night. We'll do a good job of trying to have a game plan to slow down Bilal, but at some point, there are two going to stretch the ball vertically down the field in the passing game, and we have to have guys that understand the sense of urgency that they have to be in that position when it's time their number's called to make a play.
Okay, that will conclude today's media luncheon. Thank you.